Hey guys, my name is Deborah and this is Real Military Wives TV. Today I'm going to be doing a video a little bit different than what I usually do, but this was actually requested by someone who has watched my previous videos, so I thought that it would be appropriate to do it. She asked that I talk about all of the duty stations that I have lived at and kind of my experiences with it, just so that wives or spouses who are new to the military or new to the Army in particular can kind of get a feel for what the duty stations are like. So one of the duty stations that we stayed at was Barracks in Germany. We lived in Butzbach, Germany, which is a town just outside of Friedberg where Barracks is, for 3 years. When I met my husband and found out that he was moving to Germany, it was kind of scary, really, but exciting at the same time. So I was excited to embark on moving to Germany and living there for 3 years. So when I first got there, I was actually still kind of a noob to the Army. This was one of our first duty stations. And so it was really scary for me to kind of get used to A, living in a foreign country, B, being married because we had just gotten married, and C, just having to kind of get familiar with the Army lifestyle. While we were living there, we lived in Butzbach, which is like a housing area, not actually on a post. It was a military housing area just kind of set inside of a little town called Butzbach. And it was about, I want to say about a 25, 30 minute, based on traffic, drive to Friedberg where Barracks was. And if you guys are not familiar what Barracks is, it's actually the same post that Elvis was stationed at when he was in the military back in the day. So just to kind of give you a little idea, it was a really nice post, and I can't really talk too much about this post because it's actually closed since we left there. In fact, they were in the process of closing out the post and the housing areas as we were leaving in 2007. So I can't say much about that, but I can say a lot about living in Germany. It was a fantastic experience. I seriously cannot say enough about how much I loved living in Germany. Kind of engulfing myself into the German culture, learning German. It's important to learn the basics of German. Sprechen Sie English is good to know because that means do you speak English? And I would say about 50% or more of the people I came in contact with when I used that sentence knew a lot of English, or ein bisschen, which is a little. So that was kind of cool. When you approach a German, do not just immediately start speaking English to them because that's actually considered offensive. So just keep that in mind. I remember one experience in particular. I was staying at a hotel with doing some training for a bank that I worked for out there, and there was one lady who was doing training with us who insisted on speaking English to all of the Germans around her. And without using that respect, just go up and start talking to them in English and expect them to know what she was talking about. And then in return, get frustrated when they didn't know what she was talking about. That's something to keep in mind. Definitely learn the basics of German. You don't need to be fluent, because I'm not fluent. I took a year in 7th grade. So I knew all the basics, like how to count, the alphabet, you know, the basic conversational type pieces. But I didn't know a lot, but I did try to learn a lot more just because I wanted to have that type of respect for the German people. And plus I was living in their country, just as well kind of learn their language, right? We did not live off post, so I can't say anything about living off post, but I knew that all the people that I knew who lived off post had really good experiences with that. So definitely take advantage of it if you can. We lived in like a stairwell housing unit. You guys probably know what I'm talking about if you've lived in Germany before, where there were a lot of apartments attached to a stairwell. We were fortunate enough to live on the bottom apartment, like on the main or on the first floor of the apartment complex, which made doing laundry really great because we didn't have a washer and dryer in our apartment. We had one just down below that was kind of a community washer and dryer. There were some issues with this because some of the people in our housing complex or like building weren't really good at getting their wash out after the wash was done and putting them in the dryer. So I was always consistently having to move someone else's laundry and placing it on top of the washer or the dryer if it wasn't done. But if you do live in stairwell housing, make sure that you're considerate of the people who live underneath you, because I remember the lady who lived above me used to always wear her high heels at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she would just, you know, traipse around the floor back and forth. And her son also spent hours and hours and hours bouncing a ball. So we're downstairs trying to enjoy our normal everyday life, and all we could hear was thump, thump, thump from the ball. And also, you know, click, 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 click at 5 in the morning. And I know that stairwell living is kind of pretty common when you live in Germany. So that's just a downside to living in a foreign country with the military, and that's fine, whatever. Some of you guys may have different experiences. Comment down below if you have. If you guys have any questions about living in Germany, let me know and I will answer them. I'll try to look back at this video a few times and answer questions and comments and stuff. Or if you would like to post a video response down, kind of your experience of living in Germany, that'd be great too. Obviously, the scenery is gorgeous. Every single day when I would drive to Friedberg to see like my husband for lunch or whatever it may be that I ended up going to post for, I would literally pinch myself every single day as I was driving around because the scenery was gorgeous. I passed Münzenberg Castle every single time I drove to Friedberg. There was a castle in Friedberg as well. Castles everywhere in Germany. Take advantage of travel. Do not be a homebody. They have a lot of, the MWR has a lot of like bus trips and stuff to Poland. I never took any of those, but I really wanted to, and now I'm kicking myself for not doing it. We were able to travel to Paris twice, Berlin various times because we love Berlin. Berlin is awesome. I actually had the opportunity to touch the remnants of the Berlin Wall, which is something that not a lot of people can say. So I was really stoked about that. We never got a chance to go to England just because the exchange rate was really poor, so it would have been really expensive to travel there. I did get to go to Switzerland, Austria, France, Belgium, Holland, and Luxembourg. So those are all the countries that I was able to travel to. Now we lived in the middle of Germany. If you look up Butzbach, Germany, it's kind of in the middle, just north of Frankfurt, about 40 minutes. And so travel was really fantastic. The highways are awesome there. Obviously there's the Autobahn, which has unlimited speed limit. There is a recommended speed limit, which I think was 120 kilometers an hour, which I think, I want to say that's roughly 80 miles per hour, so 75, 80 miles per hour was the recommended speed limit, but you could go as fast as you wanted. And there are a lot of really aggressive drivers there, so you kind of, if you're not really that great of a driver, I would not suggest that you drive. Visit Bavaria, the Neuschwanstein Castle. If you can, go into Austria and Switzerland. And I don't know, it's just a really good experience. I didn't have any problems. I literally cannot think of any problems. I got really close to the women in my unit. I was very involved in the FRG. My husband actually deployed for a year out of the 3 years that we lived there, and so I ended up coming back home to Utah to live with my family while he was deployed, so I could do a little bit of college and a full-time job while he was away, so, and for obviously the added support of being with your family. Hindsight, even though I love my family dearly, I wish that I would have stayed in Germany while he was deployed because I just think I would have been able to take full advantage of it. We didn't have any kids at the time. I could have traveled a ton. I could have become closer to the women in my unit. I was still pretty close to a lot of them, but I just kind of regret doing that. So think about that before you guys choose to go home during deployment. Especially if you're in a foreign country, I would definitely take full advantage of that because I know that you're going to end up regretting it if you don't. So it's kind of hard to talk about 6 duty stations that we've lived at in the last 8 years. I just figured this out while I was filming the video, but I'm going to be doing this in a series. So the next duty station I'll be talking about is Fort Knox. However, I was only there for 3 or 4 months, so I don't have a lot to say about it. I've been there since 7 years later, and it's changed quite a bit. So I'll kind of talk about my experience there, and I think that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please comment below and I'll try to answer them. Hopefully we can get a lot of videos of military spouses who have lived, in different various parts of the world so that we can all kind of get a good idea of what the duty station is like. And thanks for watching. Bye.